So hey, welcome back. Tonight, I want to go back in time. Back to probably when I really look back on it, really the best period of my life. When I was coming of age and given way too much freedom as a latchkey kid and a child of the 80s. The year we're talking about was 1996. I was in middle school. I had full control of the family basement. And I had a paper route that supplied endless trips to the neighborhood Kmart to scour horror movies fresh off the rack. Put yourself in my shoes. Middle school, 1996, disposable income. It doesn't get much better, man. Now, the title in question tonight might not be, the most marketable, and it might not even be the most well-known. It might not be the one that people, think of when they think of Stephen King and his catalog. Most folks quickly jump to The Shining, It, Cujo, Pet Sematary, and look, I love all of those films. But for my money, bringing home Thinner on VHS to own was something special. You gotta remember what was popular in 1996. We had things like the Bigfoot Pizza, Surge Soda, and Nintendo had just released a new system and they had something called Mario 64. Life was good. I was 13, full of hormones, punk rock, and rebellion. Popping in that videotape and seeing the Republic Pictures logo for the first time fills me with so much nostalgia. I can't even explain it to you tonight. It's just a reminder of so many firsts in my life. So many, sleepovers with friends, sneaking out, playing video games until the joystick was either too greasy from the pizza or just broke, and then binging horror movies until the sun came up and sleeping all day. These weren't like things that people look back on as like, hey, boomer. These things actually happened. Life was different in the 90s. It was just easier. I didn't have really a curfew. Like, I could just go out with my neighborhood friends. I could do my paper out first thing in the morning, or I could do it later in the day. I had complete control of what I thought was my life in that basement, and I had horror tapes galore. But bringing home Thinner, 1996, it was something special, man. So it's no surprise that when I talk about my favorite Stephen King movies and the lists and things that I recommend, it still comes up to this day. Thinner is a big deal. 1996's Thinner is a horror film based on the Stephen King novel of the same name. The story revolves around a successful attorney named Billy Halleck, played by Robert John Burke. Billy's life takes a dark turn after he accidentally runs over an elderly gypsy woman with his car. Instead of facing the consequences, he uses his influence to escape punishment. But the woman's father, a powerful gypsy, curses him with the word thinner. As a result of the curse, Billy begins to lose weight uncontrollably, no matter how much he eats. His physical transformation is alarming. He becomes a mere shadow of his former self, with each passing day bringing him closer to a dangerous fate. Desperate to lift the curse, he, along with his wife and a friend, embark on a quest to confront the gypsy community and find a way to reverse the spell. The film explores the themes of guilt, justice, and the consequences of one's actions, even just a momentary lapse of reason. I adore this film enough to where, the VHS here, right? It's got the nice little sticker on there for $13.97, Republic Pictures, right? And then you've got the DVD that I've had since probably when it came out, man. I mean, I've had this thing for so long. This, where they used to like master them in THX, right? It's got a really fun little startup menu. I think it's got even some special features on it, some Tom Holland stuff. Old school, man. Any day that ends in Y, I'm watching Thinner, and then of course the Scream Factory. Why couldn't we get like reversible cover art though, Scream Factory? It does have a bunch of features and stuff though, but yeah, man, I think that Thinner, it's kind of a slept-on feature. It's kind of a slept-on Stephen King story, and I don't know what it was, but when I put that tape on, I mean, not only does it just remind me of nostalgia of being like 13, 14 and having my friends over, but there was like a buzz to the room, like, oh, this is kind of gory. This is kind of creepy. This is kind of cool. Is there going to be some nudity in this? What's up with this hot chick, right? There was a bunch of like danger, I think, to Thinner, and it was written exceptionally well from the amazing Tom Holland. And I just think that because, as this thing has aged, I have become a bigger fan of Thinner. I've fallen more in love with it because it was a passion project. It was a labor of love for Tom Holland. Going back and listening to his podcast where he's talking about how it just completely flopped. He didn't get a lot of other opportunities after that. And this is the guy that penned Psycho 2, right? Like, he took Psycho, one of the most amazing films, Alfred Hitchcock's best, right? Arguably. And he came out with almost a better story in Psycho 2. Then he gave us Child's Play, right? He gave us Fright Night. I love Tom Holland. I think he is just a breath of fresh air for the horror community. He seems like the nicest guy, and he's got some crazy interviews. I'd have to link the ones that I watch. He's on these podcasts where he's just talking about his career. Fascinating listen. I love him so much. And because everybody seemed to hate it and it flopped, I kind of love it more. And where I was growing up in my part of the world, it wasn't hated. It wasn't a bomb. It was something that we watched. I probably watched this VHS probably 10 times that year. Like, I was on all the time, probably like once a month, I would say. All my friends loved it. I just thought that it was pretty drastic, the way that Billy like loses that weight, and then like his buddy with the kind of like the mafia connection becomes kind of like a crime thriller in the middle. Then it's got some crazy gore with the pie. The alternate ending is actually something that I kind of really like, that people don't really talk about. The gore with the wife, the daughter, the pie, the hand going through there. And another really creepy moment is actually when they're at that little kind of like carnival, that traveling circus, and there's the doll. Like, right, like he like wins something, and he's going to get his prize, and one of the prizes is like the people that are like just rotting from the inside, and there's like a doll of him, and it's fucking creepy, man. It's something special. Right now I'm going to take a little sip of this whiskey here to just kind of want to shoot the shit and talk about Thinner. I think it's something special, man. My wife had this cut made for me, so I don't know if you can see. It's got like blood effects, so when you tip it upside down, it kind of like drips. I'm just kind of kicking it tonight. Just wanted to talk about a film that doesn't get a lot of love. And even on this VHS here, it has special features, right? The featurette, the magic of special effects makeup. That's fucking cool, man. They don't do stuff like that anymore. I just think it's neat. I think it's really cool. And I really wish that there was more kind of like watershed landmark films like this. There's a bunch of, that I grew up with, but this was a time and place where everybody that I knew was watching Thinner. It was on TV constantly. TNT, TBS, right? HBO. It was just constantly on. Thinner is the real deal, man. And I think that I can sympathize with Billy that, all of this stuff happens to him. He goes through this crazy dramatic weight loss, and everyone that's ever had to struggle with weight or like trying to be in shape, like they can feel Billy's pain. And unfortunately, just a momentary lapse of reason where he just gets a little bit of roadhead, right? Catches a quick BJ and he runs somebody over and he's cursed for life. When really, his wife was kind of a troll and kind of the problem the whole damn time. But that's a story and a topic for another day. There's a lot of fun facts. There's a lot of cool cameos, right? You got Stephen King playing the fat man, the pharmacy, right? You got Tom Holland, who's not only writing the screenplay, but who's directing his ass off. And it's just, I don't know, man. I think it's too bad that it was just such a major flop. I think the curse concept is really interesting. But for me, for my money, what I would say is that scene where the judge's wife answers the door and she's talking to Billy about how, like the lady touched him, or the old man touched him right here, and it just spreads, and she starts to kind of just unravel and loses her mind. And she's like, you come back and tell me after you've lost another 40 or 50 pounds, you come see me then. That scene kept me up, man. I thought that was so intense when I was a little kid, or teenager, whatever. I fucking love that scene. I fucking love Thinner. I love you guys. If you haven't seen Thinner, get out there, do yourself a favor, man. Put on this thing. It's like 90 minutes. It's a popcorn flick. When me and my wife don't know what to watch, Thinner comes on. It's the real deal. If you want to see more from me, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you real soon. Cheers.